a significant number of Hispanic pastors, of African-American pastors here in the Bronx. And one of those pastors, Senator Ruben Diaz, who was a Democratic state senator who hosted the gathering, Senator Diaz said, "I know exactly what you mean by New York values. We fight them every day in our community." Let's be clear. The people of New York know exactly what those values are. They're the values of liberal Democratic politicians.
Donald Trump, of course, enjoying every minute of Ted Cruz's lack of a welcome here. But could Kasich actually be the dark horse in his primary? Joining me now, Boris Epshteyn, Lily Gil Valletta, and Adam Gutman. And Lily, you're a Kasich supporter. Everyone's like, what the heck is up with this guy? He wants to be the spoiler. He can't win this whole thing. But he is starting to poll pretty well in the Northeast.
He is, and he was warning everyone that wait until I get up north and you'll see the numbers change. And certainly with this race of 3 in New York, you will be surprised with a strong second that I'm hoping that he can garnish in New York. We can see what's happening with Trump versus Cruz. Definitely there's a big gap. There's big data analytics that are showing a big positive sentiment for Mr. Trump of 55% versus a 17% for Cruz. So Kasich is right there in the middle, slowly but surely. Mathematically, the number of delegates don't add up for what we know we need for the convention, but it could be a dark horse, a Trojan horse, that we'll see what that looks like once we get to Cleveland.
I hear you. Well, I can tell you, a strong second place is almost oxymoronic, but Boris, if indeed Kasich moves up enough, he could deny Trump that 50% threshold that could get him back on track for the 1237.
He could, but he's not there in the polling right now. Trump's at 52, Kasich's at 25, and no matter how many seconds, strong seconds, weak seconds, doesn't matter. He needs 125% remaining delegates, and last time I checked the math, that doesn't work. So Kasich's in it as a spoiler, a Trojan horse, which to me is a negative, trying to get to convention and take it away from the leader, Donald Trump.
Adam, you know the rules just as well as anyone else, but people are saying at this point it's not even about the rules. Someone like a Kasich really should bow out, and there should be pressure from the GOP to make him bow out.
Well, first of all, as a Republican, I love competition, so I think anyone who wants to run should run. I think what's interesting about New York and Trump, first of all, look at his body language, Charles, today. He relaxed. He was like he was back on his home court. He looked like a different player. He looked like he was back where he feels loved and appreciated and supported, because people in New York love the bravado of leadership as opposed to trying to select, say, the checking the boxes of conservatism, which I think Cruz is trying to sell. And he could try to sell that in the Bronx. He can try to sell that upstate. It's not going to work.
Right.
I think Kasich actually is secondary to all this. As you pointed out already, this is an over-under contest, over-under 50. If it's over 50, Trump is going to be back on that bullet train again, I think, starting to move forward swiftly to getting close at least to the 1237. And I think this is the place he wanted to go.
Yeah, I think, Frank Sinatra said it best, right? If you could do it in New York, you could do it anywhere. And you're right about the sensibilities in New York. We love bravado, whereas in the Midwest, that Dutch-German sensibility, not so much. Now, as Donald Trump continues to lead in New York, he's got over 50% of support. The establishment has to be shaking in their boots. Now, the support has come down. His gap has come down a little bit. Kasich has moved up. But what will the establishment do? And even though they don't like to be called the establishment, one anti-Trump group, Club for Growth, says they're ready to spend millions of dollars on anti-Trump ads. And now the super PAC is preparing to shift its focus right now to the Big Apple. Joining me, the representative David McIntosh, Boris Epshteyn, a Donald Trump supporter, and Lisa Booth, along with Lily Gil Valletta, who is a Kasich supporter. David McIntosh, let me go to you first. I know you guys are feeling strong. I've been reading where millions are pouring into your coffers. You must feel pretty good after Wisconsin. But can any amount of money, negative ads, work against Donald Trump in New York?
Look, the key for Donald Trump in New York is, can he get over 50% and make it a winner-take-all primary? If he's below 50%, that effectively is a loss for him, both momentum-wise, but also a real loss of about a third of the delegates. So it's right on the cusp. What we're going to do is take the messages that have worked everywhere else and point out to Republicans he's not an authentic conservative. He basically will lose to Hillary Clinton in the fall. And in the end, if you really want to make sure that Trump's not the nominee, make sure you're voting for either Cruz or, in New York, Kasich, as you pointed out, is coming on and is in second place.
Boris, what do you make of that?
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. First of all, to not have an actual nominee you back, like Club for Growth, vote for Kasich or Cruz, those are completely different two candidates. Kasich,
Charles, let me interject. We absolutely support Ted Cruz.
I'll come right back to you, David.
Kasich is moderate. Cruz is far to the right conservative. Donald Trump supporters are supporting a candidate. They're supporting a vision. They're supporting somebody who's not a lifetime politician. They're supporting somebody who stands for something, not just defeating another candidate. And as far as Trump's concerned, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Now, going back, talking about the messages worked everywhere else, look at Alabama, look at Kentucky, look at Massachusetts, all over the country, Nevada, all over the country, that message has failed. Maybe it did well in Wisconsin, but it won't in New York and going forward.
Real quick, David.
Yeah, we have supported Ted Cruz. We think he's the authentic, genuine conservative, but not Kasich. That's exactly right.
What about in New York?
And in New York, my message is to voters, don't vote for Trump. He will lose to Hillary Clinton. And he actually doesn't stand for something. In one place, he'll say he's for his own version of government health care. In another place, he says he's against Obamacare. It changes daily. It's all about Trump, the image.
And Lily, let me go to you on this. Some people, and Marco Rubio talked about it, even though ironically he stayed in long enough not only to lose Florida, but to deny maybe someone else beating Trump in North Carolina and Missouri. But this sort of vote for the guy who's closest to Trump to stop him. Do you buy into that as a Kasich supporter?
I don't, and at the end of the day, I want the American democracy to win, and besides who you are siding with, let people choose who they believe is the right candidate. Maybe I'm not supporting Mr. Trump today, however, he is in his playground, which is New York. So I would invest all that money, instead of negative advertising, put it in positive advertising that tells me why I need to change and vote for Cruz or vote for Kasich, instead of playing on a game that we've already seen that he's a Teflon politician. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do. He keeps winning.
He's lost bigly. So, and listen, if Cruz can't do something here, something interesting, that whole Wisconsin thing is just a moot point.
Well, and Charles, here what we're saying with the individuals who just spoke is the interesting dynamics of this election cycle so far. Cruz did a good job of making Wisconsin appear to be ground zero for the never Trump crowd. I mean, Wisconsin was always a mixed bag for Donald Trump. Now we're heading into New York, where he's been polling above 50%, and then the northeastern states. But here's what's so interesting about this election cycle. I mean, each candidate has a different objective here. Donald Trump is trying desperately to win the nomination outright, because if it goes to a contested convention, he's going to have a lot of trouble trying to get the nomination. And I got to just jump in here, because we know he's got to do it in New York. He's got to do well, because some of these states he didn't get these. Hey, by the way, I got to. We don't have time for the American success. We'll do it tomorrow. In the meantime, we're going to pass you over to Lou Dobbs. Keep it right here on Fox News.